Hello, come on in, sit down. My name is Onyx Turner. Very few people have known of my existence, so I doubt you have heard of me before today. I am, well, I was a freelance mercenary, spy, or whatever else one might need, for I possess a particular skill no one else has ever had. I am a shapeshifter. After many years of retirement, I have decided to make a record of my exploits, and that is what this is. Welcome to the Turner Chronicles. Chronicle 7. Location, Paris, France. Time, 9 a.m. Objective, create diversion. I'm always excited to go back to France. The population and location are so unique and full of history that it just takes your imagination and runs with it. So it was much to my delight that I was going back to the capital of this wonderful country. Once landing, I quickly went to my usual hotel that I used in Paris. But this time they were sold out. Apparently there was a festival in town, a jewelry festival. This was interesting information that I knew would be surrounded by a couple possible jobs for myself, so I set off pretty quickly to find a contact of mine to set me up with a job. I know a good opportunity when I see one. Always have, always will. It didn't take me long to get back in contact with this person, as he was swamped for work and couldn't find enough operators. Due to the nature of my reputation with this man, he gave me my pick of jobs, and the one I settled on was to create a diversion for a bank robbery that was going to take place. Now, I was not creating a diversion for the robbery itself, but rather for the group's escape from the bank and from the city. The pay was very good and the risk was pretty minimal, so overall it was quite the appealing job. The only downside was that I was forced to use the weaponry the crew chose for me to use. Usually, this is not a problem, but I was not sure of the skill level of this particular crew, and being unsure of someone's skill level in a situation like this is usually a recipe for disaster. You need to know who you're working with, know how reliable they are, and know where their areas of expertise are. And if the people I was going to be working with had no expertise with weaponry, then I did not want to trust them to pick the right weapon for the job. However, as mentioned before, the pay and risk lined up well enough that I was willing to work on that little bit of unknown there. I met with a contact of the heist crew, and he filled me in on all of the details, including the location and weapon I would be using. The weapon was a bolt-action rifle of French origin, and I was honestly okay with it. It seemed a solid piece of machinery. It was not one I was overly familiar with, and I missed the name of it, but I looked over the weapon a few times and it seemed to work. The catch was that this weapon had one mag with 7 bullets. For an experienced marksman, this is not much of an issue to create a diversion with 7 shots. The only downside to this was that if you ran out of ammo and you actually needed to fire back at an opponent, you did not have many chances. But with the other appealing aspects of this job, I did not mind it, especially considering this seemed to be an experienced crew. 2 days passed as I waited for them to contact me with news of when the job was going to happen. I finally got the phone call and headed off to downtown Paris, where I managed to find a tall enough building to suit my sniping needs. This building had a clear view of the bank that was getting robbed and a couple high traffic areas that would be easy enough to incite panic in. So I carefully removed a window of the building I was in and set up my rifle there. Good. I was ready. The crew was ready. And the job was about to go down. We did not have any radio contact between me and the ground crew, so I had to rely on sight to figure out when to create the diversion. I noticed a couple people look quite panicked inside the bank and decided that now would be a decent time to do it. I took aim at a delivery truck headed down one of the streets and fired a single shot into the engine. Smoke started billowing up from it, and the truck itself swerved up onto the sidewalk, where it slammed into a light post. I couldn't hear anything from as high up as I was, but I could imagine that there was screaming down on the street level as people started running every direction possible. 6 bullets left. I then took aim at a second car which had swerved, and the driver was working on reversing so that he could remove himself from this situation. I put one shot through his engine as well, and with good enough placement with a large enough caliber, I was able to easily stop his car as well. The man jumped out and took off running down the sidewalk, waving his hands frantically in a sort of surrendering fashion. 5 bullets left. I knew the police would be called, if they hadn't already been called for the bank heist, and I hoped that I had timed everything correct. No, I knew I had timed everything correct. This was not a time to doubt any of my abilities. I quickly glanced out at the heist crew, and they appeared to be halfway through their job. So I took aim at a lamppost and fired my third shot. The bullet impacted the light post, and it bent hard and slowly started to tip over and then fell to the street with a crash. 4 bullets left. By this point, I heard sirens and knew that if I was really going to create enough chaos and enough diversion for the heist crew to escape, I had to save my bullets for the police. Thankfully, that did not take long, and the police showed up within 5 minutes. The first officer to go barreling down the street in his cruiser was introduced to another bullet straight through the engine of his. This time, it was not a simple vehicle stopping, as there were sparks and a little bit of a flame shooting out of where the bullet impacted. The officers dove out of their vehicle and ran for cover. 3 bullets left. A few more cruisers headed towards the building I was holed up in, and I sent a shot into the front left tire of another one of the cruisers. This caused the driver to lose control, and he slammed hard into another cruiser, shoving both of them into the side of a skyscraper. 2 bullets left. It was now that I noticed a unique sound, and one that I was not happy to hear. It was the slow and rhythmic sound of helicopter blades. Now, I had a sniper that was high enough caliber, and I had enough skill to be able to take that helicopter down easily. However, I was hoping I'd get through the day without loss of life. So I watched carefully and saw the helicopter come in. I recognized the model and realized I could put a shot near the engine that would cripple it but not bring it down too fast. So I took careful aim and waited till they were close enough and fired my sixth bullet into the side of the helicopter. The pilot banked hard to the right as he heard the bullet connect, and black smoke started to quickly billow from the main rotor. The pilot quickly aimed his helicopter in the opposite direction and started making his way as far as possible away from my building. I was happy about this. I did not want to bring down a helicopter in the center of Paris, as that would be disastrous. One bullet left. I glanced through my scope and saw that the heist crew was exiting the premises and entering their vehicles. I knew that it was safe for me to begin my extraction. So I took my rifle and threw it out the window towards the cops waiting on the street below. I then quickly changed my fingerprints and made my way over to the staircase, changing my appearance bit by bit with every step I took. By the time I reached the stairs, I was an elderly man, walking along at a very slow pace. I made my way down the stairs, one by one, and heard the police breach the building. They started barreling up the stairs, and all bypassed me without a second look. As soon as all of them got out of sight, I hastened my way down the steps and quickly made it to the bottom, where I walked out the front of the building, scot-free. Pulling out a burner phone, I sent a quick text to my fixer and let him know that the job was done. He confirmed it, and I made my way to my own escape vehicle. Hopping in, I headed for the airport once again, and upon getting there, boarded a plane headed for Kyiv, Ukraine. Mission accomplished. Chronicle closed.